Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from the hot seat of beautiful Austin, Texas here. Look at that gorgeous view. So nice. Today I'm talking about how sport bikes make me ride like kind of a jerk, man. So I'm out here on my desert sled today. I haven't ridden this bike in a bit of time, and it got me thinking, man, when I ride a sport bike, I just ride like a bit of a goof. And I think the thing about it is none of us are immune from the perils and dangers of riding a sport bike, right? And different bikes totally elicit you to do different things. I remember when I test rode the Ducati 698 Hyper Motard earlier this year. Goodness gracious, all I wanted to do with that motorcycle was just be a complete moron on two wheels. I wanted to jump curbs, pop wheelies, speed a little bit, back it into corners, just ride like an idiot. And it made me wonder, what is the combination of factors in a motorcycle that make it fun, that make it squiddly, that elicit and kind of provoke you to ride a little bit more silly than you normally would? I think for starters, low down, punchy, accessible torque certainly makes you ride like a bit of a knob. I think a motorcycle that has the ability to just instantly give you response and speed at the twist of the throttle, doesn't really matter what gear you're in, doesn't matter what rev you're in, will elicit you to do silly things. I mean, think about like a supermoto, right? Super punchy single cylinder motor just makes you hit the throttle and ride like a moron, right? But I also think, like a Triumph Rocket 3, you hit the throttle on that, you get all this torque, and it's just intoxicating. And that's the element of a motorcycle to me that makes you want to ride a little bit silly as well too, is that it doesn't matter what speed you're going, it always kind of pokes you, and you twist the throttle and you're like, yeah, I want more. And yeah, some riders are like just kind of programmed to ride like that. I know a lot of people don't ride motorcycles for that reason. They get into it to just, feel their knees in the breeze and cruise on down the road. And again, I think that's related to the type of bike that they own. If you own a laid-back cruiser, it doesn't really have that kind of like giggle factor, then yeah, why would you ride it in a knobby kind of way? Why would you ride it in this kind of stupid way? It wouldn't make any sense. So immediate accessible torque, I think weight makes a big consideration as well. I think the lighter weight a motorcycle is, the more dominion and command you feel like you have over it, and then you don't feel like you have to work against it so much. You feel like you can just kind of, pop that thing over into corners, maybe even jump it over a curb or something like that in the case of the Supermoto. So I think, lower weight, bigger torque, that absolutely gives you that fun factor. But then on the flip side, I was thinking about this, where, why is it that Superbikes make you ride like a moron? Because they're not that lightweight, they're not that torquey, you have to really rev out the power. And Superbikes do something to the brain that very few motorcycles do. Because they have such biblical performance on tap, and it's only accessible if you really poke and squeeze the motorcycle, it kind of lures you like a siren's call out at sea into seeing what it can do, twisting the throttle and going, oh boy, it's gonna rev up and do something insane. And that kind of tension and anticipation that a motorcycle can give you also makes you ride like a moron. The other thing about Superbikes that kind of make you ride like a moron is that, you kind of twist the throttle and you feel that surge of power, and the kind of low down performance that a Superbike has, the kind of like first 20-30% of performance that it operates at, is so intoxicating. It starts making you really think, man, what can this thing do if I just keep twisting this throttle? And it's super interesting to think about what that motorcycle can do. You're twisting the throttle and you just have this kind of curiosity and anticipation with the machine, and that certainly elicits bad behavior as well. And one thing I've thought about and noticed as well too is that it doesn't really seem like it's highly age related. Like, yes, you can get a Superbike at 22 years old and you are way more likely to do extremely dumb things with it. But I also think on the flip side, if you have that inside of you as a motorcyclist, it never really goes away. You just tap into it at different times and with different bikes, and you choose your moments a little bit better. Like, I remember when I was a younger rider and I had my Daytona, I would quote-unquote push the envelope or just ride a little bit dumber, very often. It was sort of like a 50% chance that every time I swung a leg over my bike, I would do something silly with it. And because I was riding a sport bike all the time, it was more likely that I was to do something stupid. Nowadays, I kind of split my time between the Scrambler, the Touareg, and whatever giveaway bike that I've got currently in the stable. So right now it's the Panigale V2S, which, if you don't know, that giveaway is wrapping up here in July. So go to the website, sign up as a member, enter to win. You're not going to want to miss it because July 25th is the last day you have to get entered to win. And, you know, splitting time between those motorcycles really made me realize that I certainly ride the Panigale in a dumber way than I ride the Touareg, in a dumber way than I ride the Scrambler. But the other bike in my stable that helps reduce all of that down is my Track Spec Daytona. That bike allows me to exorcise some of those demons. Because, you know, not to get too crass about it, but I genuinely believe that there is a sort of blue-balled component to squidding. You need the release, man. If you have this pent-up aggression, if you have this, like, you know, usually male energy that you want to get out there and release, you know, you got to do it in safe and reasonable ways, but I totally see it building up over time. So a perfect example for me is if I've spent, you know, maybe 2 weeks only riding the Touareg, and then I jump on the giveaway Panigale V2S or whatever cool sport bike we have that we're giving away, I find myself riding that particular bike a little bit dumber than I normally would, because I think, oh man, it's got so much performance, it's so much fun, it's so easy to ride, like, let's grip it and rip it, baby. But again, on the flip side, if I just came back from the track and I've been riding at my limits, I've been, you know, dragging knee and elbow and scraping to the ground and flying through corners, getting low to the ground, having some fun, you know, I come back on street and the last thing I want to do is ride super fast. And I really appreciate the fact that I just have, you know, this kind of dumpy little Scrambler and an adventure bike to ride around most of the times, because it helps keep me in check. So I would say if you're riding more often than not like a bit of a dummy, get a smaller bike, get something a little bit more fun and low stakes to kind of split your time between your motorcycles. And it also helps acclimate you to the speed and potential of these higher horsepower motorcycles. I'll give you another example. A few years back, in my personal stable, I had the Turbo Hayabusa and a Ninja H2, and we had the Street Fighter V4S giveaway. And I was splitting my time between all three of those motorcycles more often than not. I didn't have the Touareg, I was barely riding the Scrambler. So pretty much every day of the week, I was experiencing over 200 horsepower at my disposal at any given time. Sometimes 300 horsepower in regards to the H2 and the Turbo Busa. And it really, really, really warped my perspective on what a fast bike really is. I would jump on something with 150 horsepower and I would think, man, this thing's dog slow, man. Like, I got no punch out of this thing. And that's preposterous. Like, 150 horsepower motorcycle is really fast. But if you're always riding 200 plus horsepower bikes, it's going to lull you into the sense that, you know, something that fast isn't that fast. And so I recently saw our favorite young shorts content killer, thought taken, Matthew Woods as he's known. He picked up a Grom, he's trying to stunt it, do some fun stuff. I'm happy to see it, Matthew. It's a good thing. Take it from your Uncle Yam over here. I also have got a Grom, and I've been trying to do some wheelies with it, have some fun with it. And it's a great addition to the stable to quell the speed demons. Just owning something fun and low stakes. That way when you jump back on the fast bikes, you actually have reverence and a good amount of, respect for them, because they absolutely deserve respect. And if you're always riding them in a silly way and enjoying them, you're going to forget how crazy those bikes actually are. But man, it never goes away. It's crazy. That squid demon on the shoulder is just always present. Omnipresent, one would say. It's just as you get older, you're able to just kind of tell it that, you know, not today. I don't need to do 150 miles an hour today. I can live without that. Whereas in the case of the Scrambler, I think it would only hit about $150 if I threw it out of an airplane. But I think the other thing about it too is sometimes, higher speeds on lighter weight bikes or sketchier bikes is more exciting than faster speeds on bigger, faster, more capable bikes. Like, honestly, I do a lot of cycling, not as much nowadays because I'm busy and I'm a dad and all that, but I was doing a ton of cycling a few years ago, and going downhill on a road bike, going like 48 miles an hour on these microscopic little skinny 27 millimeter tires, or 28 millimeter tires, is way gnarlier than doing 150 on a Busa. It's way gnarlier, and you're just wearing Lycra and you got your skin exposed. Honestly, road cycling is truly a squid sport if you think about it. But yeah, man, different bikes make you ride like a different person. It's weird. It's really weird. Like, if you jump on a big Goldwing or a BMW GS, your propensity to ride like an idiot goes down. I've ridden lots of Goldwings and GSs and big adventure touring bikes, and yeah, all the time when you're on those bikes, you're not really thinking, oh, let me like just go as fast as possible, because they don't have motors that really make you feel like that. I mean, it's very similar to driving a big SUV versus a hopped up sports car. You know, one makes you want to do certain things, the other doesn't make you want to do certain things. And that's the beauty of motorcycling. You can have many bikes in your stable that accomplish many different things for not a whole lot of money. I mean, for the average price of a commuter vehicle like this CX-5 over here, I don't know what year this is, maybe that Chevy Equinox, is that what that says over there? I mean, these things are like 30 grand nowadays, 35 grand, 40 grand for some of them, for a somewhat reasonably well-appointed commuter car that you will enjoy to your work and home. You know, I can build a very fun motorcycle stable that can pretty much accomplish every riding I'd ever want for 30 grand. Easy peasy, all day, every day. All day, every day, baby. So boys, I think that's gonna wrap up today's quick little vlog. Try to blend your motorcycling. Don't just get pigeonholed into riding fast stuff all the time, because if you're just pushing those squid demons all the time, man, it's gonna be bad news. And then it makes the fast bikes feel even faster if you haven't been riding fast stuff all the time, if that makes sense. It's like I said, if you're gonna do hard drugs, do them every once in a while. Don't do them all the time. Just kidding, boys. Don't do drugs at all. Come on, Papa Yam's not serious about that. Use your sarcasm meter. Understand that it's just a joke. I don't do drugs myself, so don't do them. So, all right, boys. Thanks so much for checking out today's video. I'll catch you later. Bye.